What happens to a child who isn't loved properly?
Have you ever just sat there and thought, wow, what a ridiculous waste of money all this is. What a huge mess all this has become. What do I do when there's blood when I wipe? You asked for it. And I mean, y'all have been asking for it for years. I'm going to show you all of it. All 121 of my airsoft replicas. I've literally watched every single airsoft collection video that all the other YouTubers have been making over the past couple years.
So this is my new outdoor HPA setup.
This shit's trash.
I'm just kidding. Kraken Airsoft is cool. Really like his stuff. Bruce of BB2K also made a collection video. If you could tell these two creators how handsome they are in the comments of their newest videos, then I'd appreciate it. I'll personally send Andy to your house with a chocolate bar. Or a gun. I'm going to tell you how much my entire airsoft collection is worth in this video.
My collection costs $1,000.
Damn, you're an idiot, dude.
I'm an expert on humans.
First up, how do I store over 100 airsoft replicas? Well, I keep 13 of them on display, like my Marui SPAS 12, my Northeast Uzi, and a few others. But for the most part, everything gets shoved into a closet. Literally everything is in these two closets, and that includes all the other stuff like my vests and plate carriers. I have Condor stuff, a lot of Phantom Gear stuff, and a couple NC Star vests. I also have some of my airsoft boxes, but those are in a storage unit. Besides that, this is how my place normally looks. I'm always filming something or editing, but I collect other stuff too. Recently, I've been dipping my toes into 1/18 scale model cars, mostly Ferraris. That massive wall of Fast and Furious cars I had is gone. I sold nearly all of them for about $800, so I have enough to buy a single model Ferrari. But I collect anything Rammstein too. CDs, albums, stickers, legitimate merch, whatever. I've got a little bit of it all. I've even had some amazing fans give me some Rammstein stuff, so thank you guys for that. I even got the chance to meet Till not too long ago. Not sure if I'm allowed to say that since I was told not to take any photos with him because of what I do on YouTube. I should really just tell people that I make furry porn instead of making airsoft content. I guarantee that I'd be treated a lot better. Now let's turn this into this. This is everything. Every single airsoft replica I own, except for my f***ed up ICS M1 Garand. I was working on a review for this, but in the process we destroyed the MOSFET and wire harness. I also got rid of my AGM MP40 not too long ago, a KWA EVE 9 with a Gate Aster in it, and an old Jag Arms scattergun. And I think I might have gotten rid of one or two more for some good money, but this is everything I got after 11 years of airsoft. Obviously, I work in the airsoft industry, and I got sent nearly everything you see for videos and as payment for other work, so that explains a lot of this mess. I have currently 35 pistols, 17 AK variants, 16 M4 variants, 12 SMGs, 6 shotguns, 7 bullpups, 7 support weapons, 11 precision rifles, and 10 replicas that didn't really fit into any category. And this is all 121 of them. Alright, let's begin. Starting this off, we'll begin with the pistols. We have a full auto HFC M9. It's a piece of shit. Wouldn't recommend it. Next I have a VFC Sig M17. People freaking love these and I get asked about it all the time. I got this one for free thanks to a friend at a D14 swap meet. It didn't come with a blowback unit, so whatever. It's a cool gift. Then I've got an ICS BLE. It was a good little $100 sidearm. I just wish I didn't lose the magazine. Here's another ICS pistol. This is the SAR 9. A bunch of real steel people liked the SAR 9 a couple years back, but no one really cares about it anymore. This is probably my least used pistol out of my entire collection, and I've been thinking about getting rid of it. I've got an old ASG CZP09, the ASG Dan Wesson revolver that my dad and I won from a competition a really long time ago. I've got the really dumb G&G HiCapa that's not compatible with anything Tokyo Marui. Then there's the Piranha. It's like a baby Desert Eagle, and I really need to get more magazines for this. It's actually really cool, and I should use it a lot more. Then to end this bunch off, I have my retired ICS Challenger HiCapa. It needs some new parts, but ICS did a good job with it. Here's one of my two G&G M9s. It's basically a reverse of this M9. I'd use both of these more, but I have a few other pistols that just overshadow these two G&Gs. The G&G GTP9 got overshadowed as well lately, so much so that I didn't feel anything when I sold my $300 SMC9 for $80 just to get rid of it. Here's my really nice ICS XPD. It's such a comfortable pistol that no one cares about anymore, but I thoroughly enjoyed making the review on it. Here's another ASG revolver. This is a good looking 715 CO2 revolver that I just love messing around with. It gets really dirty just sitting around, but it's easy enough to clean off. Next is this Armory Works HX22. I destroyed the valve knocker in this one pretty quickly, but I think I was just unlucky because it happened within like a month of using it. It looks really good though. This Elite Force H&K 45 by KWA also looks great. Then I gotta thank Novritsch for my next HiCapa. This is the SSP5. I was using this thing a lot, and this is probably my favorite Novritsch piece out of everything I've used. I even won an Airsoft award for the review that we did on it. The Novritsch SSP18 is also cool for whenever I just want to goof off with a full auto pistol. I do have the SSC18, but I'm probably going to get rid of it. I just really don't like AEPs. Then before I get into my all-time favorite pistols, I have the Elite Force 1911 TAC that the guys from Balahack Airsoft added some cool little touches to for their Z6 Zombie event. I have a bunch of extra magazines for this because it's just a reliable CO2 pistol. For my last 12, you can consider these my favorite of all my pistols. They get used the most, I show them off a lot, and I just love looking at them a lot more. First, I've got a pair of identical ICS M9s. These are as basic as they can be. They used to go for like $100, and soon I want to hook them up with those compensators that you saw from Leon the Professional. Here's that other G&G M9 that I mentioned earlier with a G&G laser. I didn't mean to make this look like the Albert Wesker M9, but I think it came together nicely, especially with the gold paint that I used to brighten up the trademarks. Next, I have 5 M1911s, 2 of which are these awesome SOCOM Gear Punisher Customs with their compensators attached, just like the WE Tech engraved model. That's how guns sound like to you?
Gotta tape that. It's tapey.
Yes!
Oh.
The owner of Mission Airsoft gifted me this years ago for all the videos I made for their field, and I still love that place. I would recommend Mission Airsoft to anyone looking for a chill place to play in the outskirts of San Antonio. Next up is my other WE M1911 that doesn't really work. I've used this a lot, as you can see, but it's a piece of history to the channel. Another 1911 that I've got, honestly, this is probably one of the best feeling ones I've ever handled. This is a G&G M1911 or GPM 1911 or whatever the hell they want to call it. This is very basic, but that's exactly the way I wanted, and I love the wood grips on it. The last of my 45s is this big and bulky VFC FNX 45, also known as the TAC 45 if you played a lot of Black Ops 2 like I did. I loved this thing in that game. It was like a 2-shot kill in Black Ops 2, so I just had to have one. I do want to get the Tokyo Marui version, but the FNX 45 by VFC was also a nice good contender. I just need a lot more magazines from Evic. Then there is the RWA EXA, my Glock replica of choice. I'll probably get a VFC or a GHK Glock soon, especially since GHK wants to do some work with me apparently, but we'll see what happens. Then for my top 5 pistols, I have my Akimbo WE Tech Desert Eagles in electroplated gold.
These are cute. They're heavy.
Your mama belongs in the hood.
I am the hood.
Turkey Tom actually used one of these during our 1v1 a while back, whereas I was using a WE Tech Black Lagoon M9 Cutlass. Black Lagoon is my second favorite anime, so I legally had to have two of these. I need to get a leather dual holster commission by Morisato54, and I've ordered more magazines already. Then my favorite pistols have to be my Tanaka M500 Performance Center 10.5 inch for being absolutely ridiculous, and my EMG and Terran Tactical Combat Master Alpha. This thing right here is a monster. I've used it in a lot of games recently, and the range it can dish out is awesome. It's really accurate, even at 200 feet, and the magazines are just sexy. This is my favorite pistol right now for a lot of reasons, and I can't recommend it anymore. You have to check out some of the stuff that EMG is making. But for my M500, I don't use it much.
How much?
$250.
No, hombre. O pinche plastic.
I don't have duster gas, and it doesn't really shoot accurately anyway. It's mostly a showpiece, but it's just massive. The real thing isn't too bad to shoot either.
That really isn't that bad.
Whenever they're not on display, like they are now, I normally keep the majority of my pistols in these cubbies on hooks. It's a great way to store them in a flashy way. Then suddenly, LCT sent me another package. It just arrived while filming, and I already know what's in it. Ladies and gentlemen, I now own an LCT RPK-16. I already have the regular RPK, so it's only fair that I get one of these too. LCT basically went, hey, do you want to make some more videos with LCT stuff? And I was like, I mean, I guess. Alright, then pick anything you want. And since I still can't get an RPD, I asked for this, one of their new MOEs. Just look at this thing. This thing is just ridiculous, and I'm going to love running it. With this. A big ass drum magazine, and basically no barrel. It's perfect. Of course, I'm going to make videos about these, so expect the RPK-16 review to be named something like the LCT RPK-16, a Milsim legend. I don't know, dude. I wouldn't call that piece of trash a legend.
Shut up, bitch!
Okay, on to the SMGs and the PDWs. Now, I'm not going to give like a 30-minute Chris Chan level backstory to everything here, so I don't give that much of a shit anymore. First up, I've got the MXC9. This is the G&G one. I like to use the PCC 45 magazines just because it looks really cool. It's like a futuristic UMP 45. I threw on an SRS replica sight that I got at a D14 swap meet. And I think this is a pretty cool setup. Over here, I've got a CYMA MP5K. I added the folding stock to it. For whatever reason, I got two of these folding stocks from Evic when I only ordered one, so I just kind of gave the other one to a friend. I like these straight magazines. It gives it more of a classic retro look. And I actually almost sold this thing at the D14 winter swap meet because I broke the charging handle because everybody likes to slap these stupid things. But my friend Jared was actually selling his own CYMA MP5K that didn't have this broken, but everything else was broken. So he just gave me his MP5K, and I took that one part and I swapped it. Okay, one second, you guys gotta see this. This is like one of my favorite SMGs.
Is that a dookie right there? All right, Scott. Tell me what that is right there. What the f is that?
He's doing blackface, dude. Fucking racist, dude.
He's like, oh my god, so stupid.
Yeah, I got my VFC MP5 in here. We just took it out to Mission Airsoft last weekend, so I actually really like this piece.
I stepped on the dookie.
You stepped on the shit.
I stepped on the fucking dookie.
I've got one of Specna Arms' 9mm. I think this is called the X series. I did a video on this not too long ago. I tend to lend this one out to friends. I've got the modified PP2000. We gave one of these away forever ago. I've got an ARP 2.0 from G&G. You gotta have an ARP 9 in your collection. What do you think? Looks good with the red, right?
I think you forget that I'm colorblind though.
I'm colorblind. And over here I've got one of Zion Arms' PDW 9s or whatever. Everybody was making these like 9mm PCCs. I don't really play with this myself. I tend to lend it out to friends who have kids that just want to come and play airsoft with us for whatever reason. Last two are like my favorite SMGs. I got the Archwick APC9K. I added one of the smoky tracer units. So this is a normal tracer unit, but it also shoots smoke out. This thing just fucks.
Sorry, mate. Oh, hit.
Archwick APC9K. I freaking love this thing. And last is like my favorite SMG out of my entire collection, or PDW or whatever. This is the Arcturus PP19 Z-Tac. I don't really like the PP19, I never really have, but this is the one that I really like. This was a pretty expensive piece, but because of so many maniacs that like watching USAirsoft, we actually won a random airsoft award because of the review we made on this, so thank you. Biggest award-winning airsoft YouTuber in the industry. Bitches.
What's all over your face, pal?
Your wife's pussy.
Bro, don't even be dissing. These things are f***ing awesome.
The way he looks at you, you know you're done for if you fuck up.
I really wish I weren't here right now.
Hi. Next are my support weapons. The stuff I use when I want to completely cheese any airsoft game. Except for my BAR. This thing fucking sucks.
Hello?
Hey, the BAR is your favorite gun, right?
What are you planning?
If you come here right after work, it's yours.
What? Why?
Because the thing's a pile of shit and I want it out of my collection. My first piece that's not made of used condom wrappers and old toothpaste bottles is my A&K PKM. This thing is freaking awesome. I've loved it ever since I picked it up at one of the D14 swap meets. I just really want to HPA it. HPA PKMs and M240 Bravos are like some of the most frustrating things to go up against because of their massive box magazines. It's even more frustrating than people trying to pass this shit off as an LMG at your local field. My Ares G36 also needs a complete internal rebuild. I basically used this thing to death and I loved it. It's my MG36 setup, but I need more of the beta magazines. I broke this one immediately after I got it. I just dropped it and immediately fucked it up. Also, I need a proper flash hider because of all the stupid shit that Ares has done. They decided to make their threads positive only. You already saw the LCT RPK16.
I'm pushing back. This is too easy right here. I don't like this. I shouldn't pick up a quadruple that easy.
But I have to say, I probably still prefer my classic LCT RPK. This thing's just beautiful. I made a review about this not too long ago, and in that review, I said this thing was legendary, and I don't give a fuck if you don't agree with me. Then probably the weirdest thing I have in my collection is an ICS L96 LSW. I mean, this thing is ugly in so many different ways, but it's just really rare to see one of these. But recently I did this. I don't know how I did this or how it can be fixed because I don't see anything that can be properly tightened down. But yeah, this thing still works. I just need to figure out what to tighten down to keep the fore end together, but yeah, still a cool piece. And that's it. All right, moving along.
Okay, shotguns. I only have 6 right now. 1, 2, 7. Yeah. Okay, so I have 7 shotguns right now. You should have seen Joseph's face. It was like, first up, I got an APS Salient Arms Custom. This I got when I first signed up with EVIC, and it's really cool, but I just need to do some repair work to it. I mean, but I need to do some repairs to it. It doesn't work the best, but it's still like one of the best looking shotguns on my collection.
I wish I really had a real one so I can shoot my for ripping me off. Hey.
Over here, I've got a CYMA and EMG. This is a CYMA and EMG SGR12. Basically, it's the AA12, but in a different body. But some people really do dig it. Pretty much anything EMG is awesome, so I do need to include more EMG stuff in my collection in the future. Next up, I've got a Golden Eagle tri-shot and 6-shot gas shotgun. This thing is awesome. I have it dressed up a little bit. It's a little ridiculous with the pad with the extra shells in the back, but I think this thing looks awesome. Then I've got the overfolder CYMA tri-shot shotgun. This thing's like 120 bucks, but it's really hard to beat a CYMA shotgun, especially when a bunch of people are running these on the field. Everybody's got limited range and firepower. It's so fun to play with shitty airsoft guns, I swear to you. And then we have one of my least used replicas out of my entire collection. I've used this only twice, and it's not like I'm trying to ignore it. This thing can be pretty cool. This is a CO2 powered shotgun that's like double action. I can't remember how much it is, but I think it's kind of worth it, but it could be a lot better. By the way, it's called the Cybergun SLP, but I just call it the Slap. This is kind of like a display area, just kind of have some things for show. This is a KK scale F40. This is a GT Spirit F50, and I think this is a GT Spirit Liberty Walk F40. We've been counting every single gun that I have in the collection and about how much they cost. We're not even halfway done, and we're at $21,537. All right, next, bullpups. So I do have a Cybergun FAMAS. My friend Forrest gave me this, but it doesn't work, so I just kind of keep it just because it's my friend who gave it to me. Over here we have a Real Sword Type 97B. These are kind of rare, but shout out to the Far East Tactical Group for hooking me up with one of these so we could put the review and everything. Over here we got my G&G Audi 5. I actually really like this. This is the A1 version. And a lot of people told me it would be like a shit gun just because it's the A1, but dude, this is airsoft. I've got a JLSF 2000. Just before Joseph turns the camera on, I shoved the magazine up inside this thing and just pieces of the hop-up break off and land on the floor. This thing is such a piece of shit, it won't even keep a magazine in. Oh, yeah. I've got a KWA F90. Shout out to KWA for sending me this. I need more magazines though, and they're like 50 bucks each. And then my favorite bullpup in the entire collection, my GHK AUG. This thing is awesome. And then over here we have a Crytek Alpine White Vector. This thing is so sexy, but I need to get some more magazines for it and probably some kind of crazy optic to really make it look weird. This is not all of my AKs, but these are some of my standout ones. So first up, I've got the Arcturus AK12. Now these have some really cool MOSFETs inside that let me do binary fire, burst fire, active braking, a whole bunch of stuff. If you haven't seen any of the Arcturus AKs, you definitely gotta check them out. They're more modern, but the stuff they have inside of them is awesome. Above that, this is the E&L AK-74 M3. This is the final iteration of the AK-74, and it kind of reminds me of the AK-12 in a lot of ways. I just really hate the stupid orange tip. But E&L actually includes the black muzzle devices in the box, so this is only for shipping purposes. Get the f down from there. Next, I've got the other two E&L E Platinums, the AK-104 or AK-105, no one cares, and the AKS-74U with the Z tactical parts on it. It's like Zeneco parts.
Is it heavy?
A little.
Behind you, that's,
oh man, holy shit.
Who in the hell recruited you? You can't aim for shit.
Below that, I've got the new Arcturus ATAC PDW. This is like a futuristic AKS-74U. I love it. I especially love the stock setup here. We have dual connections, so you can either plug it in and put a battery in the buffer tube or up top in the dust cover if you want to. Also, these have the same ETUs that they use in most of their other AKs. So again, you get binary, burst fire, active braking stuff. And I think it particularly looks cool with the ICS ARC magazines for some reason. I really don't know why. Overall, just a really cool, futuristic looking AK. And then for the last one of the notable AKs, I've got this LCT AKM with their ridiculous, like, I think these are only 130 or 140 round magazines, despite them being like 2.5 times bigger than a normal magazine. These things are ridiculous. I only wanted one of these just for the what the f factor of it. But the funniest thing ever, I didn't notice this for a while until I went back into the unboxing. I actually got this without a front sight at all. Okay, so CYMA usually is one of the best airsoft manufacturers ever, but not when they made their Galil. I have 6 Galils, and this is the worst one yet. I really don't know why I keep it. A whole bunch of stuff isn't exactly the best on it, but I'm the Galil king, so I must have it. If you're looking for a Galil, this is not the one I'd recommend at all. People are constantly asking me about what my favorite airsoft gun is, and I keep on giving the same answer. It's the ICS Galil AR. Now I have ARMs, and I have ARs. I even have ARs with King Arms handguards, and then I've got real ones. At the moment, I have 5 ICS Galils, 1 real one, and that thing. This ICS Galil ARM is kind of set up how I would have mine set up in Black Ops 1 with dual magazines, and I'd even have a big suppressor on it. I actually did a gameplay video of something like that.
because we're getting shot from left side too.
So yeah, these are my absolute favorite pieces of my collection, and I have no plans to give up any of my Galils. But you never know, maybe someone will make a gas blowback version one day.
Hey guys, it's Jarek there, Dragon from Red Dragon Airsoft. Got another review today. It is the Galil. It's Cybergun license, CYMA made. This is a little bit loose, by the way. You can tighten this. Alright, it has nice trademarks all over it. The stock itself is made of very nice metal. The lower receiver is metal, it's actually pretty heavy. The whole gun itself is pretty dang heavy, and this doesn't feel like it was made out of pot metal. It's a lot of metal, there's no wobbling on it at all. I'd like to say again, this is one pretty solid gun. It would take a bit to really break it.
Goodbye. I drove an hour to do that. That's where it entered. That's where it exited. I'm gonna say that we don't have very good compression in this anymore.
So definitely a very, very solid gun.
One weird fun fact about my Galils, I actually got Markiplier, Bob, and Wade's autographs on one of the magazines. I got this autographed at the last PAX South event here in San Antonio, Texas, and I've always wondered if Markiplier actually remembers this. I really wish that ICS made mid-cap magazines because that's super annoying. Now I'm always on the hunt for more ICS Galils, but I definitely need more magazines. And I guess I do have two more notable AKs, whereas I have this normal LCT AKM. I've got it all blinged out. This is the LCT limited edition stainless steel AKM. You guys have seen this in a video of mine where I took this thing out to a field and it got a lot of attention, but this thing completely shit the bed. Well, LCT definitely heard all my complaints and they're actually taking that video to heart. So I'm actually really happy to say, because of the review video that we did on this, LCT is going to be working on a bunch of the stuff that we ragged on them for, which I absolutely honor. That is so cool whenever a company will actually hear me out when I bitch. And then underneath that, I've got this guy. This is an LCT AKS74U. Usually this is sitting up on top of one of my shelves for display, but this thing is kind of pristine because I treat it very well normally. So it's still looking really good. Then right here I have two AKs that need some work. I took the motor off of this to use in a different gun. This thing totally works, no problem. It's the ICS ARK or ARC. Yeah, I just need to give it another motor and put the motor grip back on. However, this is a Specna Arms AK that I dropped at some point, and now this comes off way too easily. Normally it's supposed to come off whenever I hit this little lever, but I can take it off pretty much all the way, even if it's engaged. I have used this though with rubber bands just holding the handguard together. It still works fine, I just messed up the handguard. On this section of the apartment, I've got my support weapons over there, and the stuff that really didn't fit into a category over here. First up, I got the E&L T191. This is a pretty cool gas blowback. I need to film more stuff with this though. KWA Kaiju 47, PTS ACR to look like the ACR from Modern Warfare 3, A&K Lever Action. I only have this in my collection because a fan gave it to me. It's kind of falling apart, it leaks, but I can't get rid of it. Got a G&G 308 MBR, I think it's called. I did a review on this forever ago. Then another one of my favorites, this is the LCT HK53. I just think this is awesome. It's the thick P5. Think of what makes the MP5 cool, but then just make it a 5.56. I've got both the King Arms FAO up here and an Ares L1A1. The King Arms one's cool, but like it's so brittle that so many parts have fallen off and broken by like just messing with them once. But the Ares L1A1, still kicking. This is my really cool, really rare G&G FNC. This thing is pretty much mint condition. I love this thing. And then we have an LCT G3. I put a big stupid scope on it just because it looks really cool. This thing can really reach far with like 0.32 gram BBs or heavier. I just need to fix the safety switch because it's semi, full auto. There is no safety anymore, but I think maybe just the selector plate backed off a little weird. But yeah, this thing is just sexy. Mainly my collection consists of guns from movies, video games, pop culture and such. So I've got a little bit of everything. I've got Modern Warfare like 2 influences, Black Ops 1 influence. I wish I had more Black Ops 2 guns, but we're waiting for the AN-94 to be made. So I don't want 15 custom HiCapas though. I don't know why, there's like 4 different companies asking me right now if they can build a custom HiCapa for me. I don't want them. All right, precision stuff. We're starting off with my G&G M14 EBR. This thing feels like a tank, it's super heavy. I also have the normal G&G M14 with the walnut stock. I got given this one and the EBR for a really good deal by a friend. I would use these with 11.1 LiPo batteries, so I destroyed the trigger contacts in both of these M14s. But man, are these things beautiful. Next, we have an Ares M110, I think they call this. Sorry, it's the AR308. I got this as the deluxe version, so it came in a hard case. It came with a really nice scope, which I just mainly use on other things. While putting that down, my other Ares rifle fell over. This is the Ares M40A6. I made a review on this forever ago, and people really liked it. I still use this. I don't know, whenever Ares makes spring-powered stuff, they tend to work pretty well for me. Then we have the Specna Arms S14 L96, followed up by an ICS Tomahawk. These are actually really good. A lot of people have not given these the credit they deserve. The cylinder volume of this thing is pretty wicked. Then for my last 3 precision replicas, I start off with my VFC 417. This is the 350C limited edition that I got from a store that really had no idea what they were doing with this thing. I rescued this one for about $200, I think. The gearbox is shot, the barrel is bent leftward, the bipod is broken. And for whatever reason, the previous owner wanted to turn this thing into a high rate of fire gun. I don't know why, but basically, I have the body. It's probably going to get HPA'd because all the internals are totally destroyed. Under that, I have the Novritsch SSG96. I don't really have much else to say about it. It works. And then finally, we have probably one of the most famous pieces in my collection. This is a Tokyo Marui PSG-1, an entirely plastic rifle that creaks and bends. Hence the sticker.
Like the scope.
I mean, you remember Lee Harvey Oswald. Who did you like more, JFK or Lyndon B. Johnson?
I didn't like none of them because they were Democrats.
I mean, this thing will reach out and hit something as long as it's within 50 feet and if the barrel is bent in its direction. You probably could tell as I've been talking about my precision pieces that they're okay. If I got rid of any portion of my collection, I'd probably dig into all the bolt actions because I use them, but I'm talking like once or twice a year. Except for my Ares Car 98K, this thing is beautiful and I've taken it out quite a lot. Now for the most exciting stuff, my M4s. This is my one and only Umbrella Armory build. This is built on a G&G SR30. This thing had a really good rate of fire, and I actually kicked butt with this, especially in CQB, but for whatever reason it died and I never got to really open it up and take a look at it, but I'm sure it was something simple. Then I have an Arcturus CAT or CAT. We saw these while we were in Japan and I had to have one myself. It's a side folding M4 with a lot of cool technology on the inside, and I believe this has a split gearbox as well. There's a lot of good reviews out there on YouTube over these, so definitely check those out if you're interested in a side folding M4. Another piece that I really like and I can actually run this time is an ICS and EMG Mark 18. I forget the full name of it. It's like DDM4, but whatever. It's a Mark 18. That's all you really need to know. I've got this kind of set up the way I want. I just need a proper optic and maybe some rail covers, but honestly, this is what like pretty much every other Mark 18 looks like. This one's a legend on the channel. This is a M27 by VFC. I got this out of my very first mystery box ever. And it's the M27. I was good looking back then, and I continue to be as sexy as ever. Yeah, I got this when Polar Stars were still pretty fresh on the market, so this was a really big deal back then, and I still love it. Here's another VFC. This is a weirdly decked out VFC SOP Mod M4A1. I also threw on my Mad Bull grenade launcher just because I could, but I want to replace it with an M203 grenade launcher at some point. And then I have my Crytac LVOA. I don't have very many Crytacs in my collection. I just have my Chris Vector and this. This is another piece that I need more accessories for because every LVOA has a bunch of stuff on them. What doesn't perform very well is my LCT M16A4. I think the piston on this is broken, that or the tappet plate, because this thing does not feed at all. So this is probably another piece of my collection that needs a full internal rebuild, or at least a hop up. It's a shame too because this thing is solid. I need a lot more of these full barrel, full stock M16s in my collection. And that's a good transition for these. This is a classic Army M16A1 that is serial number 210, which is the area code for San Antonio, so I love that for this. And then I have a gas blowback M16. This is by WE. I got this off the Hop Up app forever ago with 10 magazines. It needs some new parts. I want to put all sorts of RA Tech parts in here because it works, but it could be a whole lot better. But I got this and 10 magazines for like $200 because of the Hop Up app. So much better than VFC. This is a KWA E4. We made videos about this a couple times before. Even though it's got a small barrel and you would think this would only be good for CQB, this thing kicks ass on the field as well.
He's hit, he's hit, he's hit. Bonnie.
Who's a baby with their floppy ears? Who gave you floppy ears? I will be honest with you guys, I cannot remember what G&G called this. I'm going to put the name on the screen, but this is one of those really interesting but very well performing pieces in my collection. This is just like very weird but really cool. Over here I've got my ICS Mars 2. This works perfectly fine. I just broke the stock, but everything works fine on this. One of ICS's best technology-driven M4s that they've ever made. Some of y'all might remember this from our previous review. This is the Arcturus Sword. It's a pretty good M4 for intermediate players with a $250 budget, but there were just some minor little things I didn't like. But thankfully Arcturus saw that review. They really heard me out and they're making little changes to this. But pretty cool piece for what it was. For one of my favorite M4s we have, I think this is called the G&G MGCR. This thing is just a really slick M4. I need to get more magazines for this as well. Magazines are like 50 bucks each and they're always out of stock, which is a huge pain in the ass. Absolutely love this thing. Hopefully whenever we get some more magazines, I can actually make some kind of video out of it. Then I've got one of my very few custom made M4s just for me. This is an RWA BAD SBR. I made a review over this a long time ago. This thing has a Cerakote on it that is UV reactive. I don't have a flashlight on me, but I'll just enter in some B-roll now. This thing is pretty cool, but it's primarily a CQB gun only. It just doesn't really perform very well on the field. I can probably do some upgrades to it and make it perform a lot better. Honestly, this thing is freaking awesome to look at. So to everyone that had a hand in putting this together for me at Red Wolf, thank y'all very, very much. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and get to the top 10. Real quick, don't knock shit over. Don't knock shit over. Okay, so everything here is important to me for one reason or another. Doesn't matter if it's one of my Galils, got my AA12. This thing is cheating. It's like, take CQB, but make it slutty easy. That's how the AA12 treats any game. First things first. Northeast Uzi. Now this is not how it showed up. I got this from Evic a couple months ago and I had the woodstock on it. So this is the actual Uzi, not the MP2. So this came with the woodstock, but thankfully to the guys from Northeast, I actually got a folding stock. They gave me a couple little things to take a look at and test out, but I haven't had any problems with this thing. A lot of people have told me that the first batch of Northeast Uzis had some problems, but I haven't had any issues with this. And I've been loving it, dude. I've been using this at the field at Mission Airsoft, and I've been tagging fools left and right. This thing is awesome. Does that remind you of living in the hood?
Yeah.
Someone owes you money.
Somebody owes me money? Alright. I'm gonna let go of them.
Also, I love that they made it out of steel. They didn't skip out on any of the build quality because I can do this to it and it doesn't matter. Next up, we've got the GHK AUG. Now this is one of my favorite gas blowbacks out of my entire collection. Dude, it's a gas blowback AUG. All the AUGs, in my opinion, suck in the airsoft world, so I've always been super happy whenever I got the chance to get one of these. In my collection, you might have seen these over here or these over here, but my favorite shotgun out of everything is my Marui AA12. the AA12. I have a PCU tracer unit on it. This thing is like $200 and I'm not very proud about that, but it's a cool tracer unit. It works. I need to get drum magazines. If you have an AA12, you need drum magazines. This thing is already super expensive and it's like super huge, but I will get the drum magazines eventually. So there's a photo that we have of you with the same shotgun.
Oh, really?
Up here, I've got my E&L AKMS and my Novritsch CGS. This is the CYMA and EMG. I love both of these. They're like kind of from two different worlds completely. But my AKMS, I usually use this thing with drum magazines, even with the stock closed. I just think it looks super sinister like that. And then the Novritsch, this is the CYMA take on the Tokamuri MWS system. This isn't 100% Tokamuri compatible, but this thing is awesome the way it is. You have an adjustable trigger, adjustable end pass I think it has. There's so much cool stuff with this. EMG has a lot of great stuff and I want more of these CYMA CGSs, but I do want some more like retro stuff like M16 A1s, A2s, and so on. After that, we've got the Tokamuri SPAS 12 and my Ares Car 98K. Now, I got this from a friend years ago for a really crazy price. These used to sell with the stock for like $700, even though it's a $200 plastic shotgun, and this thing shoots like sub-joule. No one should ever complain about getting hit with this thing because it's more annoying than it is painful.
Hey, I need some covering fire back here, Evan!
I've used this thing in a few videos. I added a sling to it just because it looks kind of dope like that. I don't ever really use it with the hook, but I will use it with the stock deployed almost always just because it's so useful like that. And then under that is the $650 Ares Car 98 Deluxe version. Now this thing is beautiful. Ares makes some really beautiful pieces on the outside. I don't always agree with a lot of the electronics they do with their AEGs, but like, how can you deny this thing? A lot of people ask me about this scope. It does come with the deluxe version. It's like a replica of the Zeiss scope, and I just think this thing looks beautiful. Next is my all-time favorite piece out of my entire collection, and that is my ICS Galil AR. A lot of people ask me what's my favorite gun out of my 100-piece collection, and it's gotta be this. I've taken it to American Milsim events. The zip ties and stickers are from other events where we passed through Chrono. I love this. I've had this for over 8 years. No problems, really. I've replaced some pins here and there. I've replaced a screw that went through the stock, but besides that, this thing is still just my old airsoft gun. It still runs. It sounds like an old airsoft gun, just like the one below it. This is my ICS Galil ARM. It's basically the same thing, just a different handguard, and this one comes with the bipod, but you can put it on any of the ICS Galils if you want to. These don't come into the United States anymore due to licensing issues, but dude, this is my favorite. This is my favorite gun out of my entire collection, and I have 5 or 6 of them. And for the very last piece, this wouldn't fit on the table. This is my G&G MG42, the GMG42, Der Metzgermeister as I call it. Dude, this thing has so many hidden features. The barrel comes out, the charging handle actually matters if I hold up the... What the hell do you want, Leslie?
I'm filming right now.
Like, if I actually use the charging handle, it actually brings back the barrel on the hop-up, which is amazingly cool, and then I can just launch it forward whenever I'm not using it, so I can then take out the barrel if I want to. This thing is $2,000 though. It used to be like $1,700, but inflation screwed it up. Now this thing goes for like $2,000, $2,100, $2,200 I've seen.
I just picked up a double.
Now I do love using this. I take it out with me quite often, even though it kills my back. But I have written the review for this. So expect the review to come out in like half a year. Levi shows up and I get my finger stuck in the MG42's charging handle. Do you want this now?
What are you doing with this?
My collection costs $114,000.
Damn.
Shoot on myself.
No shit.
You don't need a second son.
I did count everything, and the actual cost, all my guns, 121, cost $42,446.
Damn, can I pawn all this shit?
So that's it. That's everything. That's every airsoft replica I own. I have been filming this for weeks, and no, I don't have anything to give away, so please stop asking me stupid shit like this. And by the way, I cut my hair. Alright, let's wrap this shit up because I have much more important stuff to do with my life than being a fucking airsofter. I hope you enjoyed this video of me gloating about all the cool stuff that I have and that you don't. But definitely go follow the USAirsoft subreddit and follow me on Instagram if you would like to. But being serious now, thank you all for watching this crazy video. It's taken so long to put this together. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time now, and I appreciate every single person who supported USAirsoft over all the years. But until that next video drops from the city of San Antonio, Texas, this has been Scott Hollenbeck, and I will be sure to see you all next time.
Is he on Twitter? Is he on 4chan? Who knows? But hailing from a small one-bedroom apartment, it's Captain No Bitches! With his superpowers of scaring off all the hoes in a split second and making everyone want to suddenly go home. Oh, she's dating a black guy now? What a waste. Captain No Bitches can save his time for more important things, like collecting artwork of girls of dubious ages, or defending his favorite radical political commentator of the month. No, I think I agree with Hassan about 9/11. I saw that man walking out of that anime convention right over there. That man definitely gets no bitches. And what about you, ma'am? Have you heard of the legendary Captain No Bitches? Leave me alone. After several years of no play, he was fired from his dream job after one too many sexual harassment accusations. Then the once ordinary shut-in named James was suddenly cursed with a lifetime of negative social interaction skills, turning him into what he is today. Now he roams every inch of the earth to demonstrate his lack of bitchery to anyone capable of withstanding his radioactive bodily stench. When everyone is enjoying themselves. Mike, I heard your sister finally died of cancer. It was about time, right? When there's a heavily charged opinion to be made at the most inappropriate of times. Or when he's about to break his lifelong curse. I promise you, those are a part of a rash. I'm actually clean. Captain No Bitches springs into action. I bet I can knock out her boyfriend if he came at me. He's a symbol of confidence to nice guys everywhere. He's Captain No Bitches! Captain No Bitches is an irrelevant trademark character of Citizens United to Noisily Talk, bringing top quality entertainment and journalism to all literacy rates.
Okay, wrap it up. Wrap this shit up.
What are you doing? You're being stinky. You better not make a stinky on my couch.
Done! Ah! Finally!